Welcome back to Karagor Studios Remnant Lunar Archon session 34.
Very nice. Got it. Are you also volunteering to recap last session? Or no?
Nope.
I had a feeling. Seems y'all don't like to recap.
I did not sign up for that.
I'm gonna force y'all to eventually. I just haven't decided when. Unless I should force someone to. I could force someone tonight. Should I force someone tonight?
Here's your recap. Last time we were here, we did things.
You said three. You had three immediate in a row rolls for Evil DM, so I guess you have to force someone.
This
right?
is true.
Clearly.
I do. Okay, so I'm rolling a d6. If it gets 5, which is my image on the thing, then I'll do it. But if it gets any of the rest of you, one of you has to do it. Okay, I guess I'm doing it. Okay, fine. Okay, hello. Yes, welcome back. Yeah, Karagor Studios. We already said that previously. The party finished chasing after.
After the person
that we could not see.
Where am I?
The mysterious cloaked figure.
I'm getting static. Where is my static?
We attacked the person we were going to save.
You attacked the person you were chasing after. Okay, so it's not Garand. Not Jack.
Is it me? Am I the problem?
No.
Am I the trauma? I don't think
I'm
the
gonna
trauma.
disconnect and reconnect. That fixed it. I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but it's fixed now. Cool.
Yay!
But yes, Static, hello. Yes, previously on this game we did. The party chased after the doppelganger, chasing them through the city, trying to catch up to them, with Cedar as a horse, yeeting along, Gambit riding Cedar horse.
Thicket.
Did I say Cedar? I meant Thicket. Thicket as a horse, yeeting along.
I was about to say, I don't remember being a horse.
Gambit riding on
right
Thicket
I don't
horse.
remember being a horse.
Losing the person in a crowd where, by all accounts, they either hid and or changed their look to be someone else. Who knows? They can take on one form, they can probably take on another. The party, after losing them, went back, managed to secure their two friends, Ulrich and Linnea. Those are the names. Ulrich, Linnea, and Letta. Letta. It was Letta. The friend.
I think her name changes every time.
Her name, I remember it was Letta this time. I don't know if I missed it from the first time, but this time I know it was Letta. You all, with Letta, left Letta at her house, and then proceeded to take the other two to the police station. I say police station, the guard station barracks place. Talk to Oscar. Say hi. He brought you into an interrogation room, basically. Got all the details, stabbed Garand in the hand to read Garand's personality and see, basically whether or not he was lawful good or anything, because he can read alignments as an ability. So he did that, believed y'all, wrote up the stuff for it, details, got all that, wrote notes down, and offered to take in Linnea and Ulrich to his house while they hide out from whoever's hunting them until this person is caught. So he did that. Y'all presume he did it effectively and secretly. Who knows, though? Y'all left it in the hands of a government official. What happens is your own fault. Now, y'all did leave it with Oscar, though. After that, y'all left. Eventually realized that Garand had several things stolen from him. Well, he had one main thing stolen, and then y'all caught someone else trying to steal one of the elemental gems out of Garand's pocket. Y'all caught the guy trying to steal the elemental gem. Realized that Garon's spellcasting focus, his jar of Storm Phoenix tears, had also been taken. Y'all managed to threaten this guy into telling you where he thinks it would have been sold, or like where he would have sold the thing. Y'all let the guy go after scaring him a lot. Y'all went to the fence that y'all had actually been to before. The guy that runs the Moonlight Garden, the halfling Harry's. Actually, I don't know if y'all got his name, but yeah, his name is Harry's. Spelled not like Harrys, but Heres, like Hermes, but without the M. Y'all got to him. Y'all interrogated him some more. After this interrogation was finished, you got your things back from him, interrogated him, basically made him hate you. Who knows if that's going to come back to bite you at all. And then you went back to... Where is my note for it? The Chimera's Thorn, the hotel y'all are actually staying at. Y'all secured Claude. Y'all put on a performance on account of Garand. Y'all talked to Eleazar and found out that there is Friday night, the 21st, there will be at 11 o'clock, there is a meeting at the Hearth and Haven. The meeting for the Shade Tree, which y'all understand is kind of a not criminal, but kind of rebel organization of sorts in the city. And then y'all proceeded to... Garon proceeded to play a good performance. Everyone else proceeded to hang out. Doug managed to... I don't remember who, but he did some... He stole from some... No, Gambit and Doug together stole from someone. I don't remember which person it was. Stole from someone, though. I think it was someone who stole from you. So you stole from him, stealing from you. I think it was the guy that stole Garon's spellcasting focus. Y'all stole a silver ring from him, as well as the money he had on him. He went home... Oh no, you didn't steal his money, you stole his house key. And then he went home drunk without a house key. That's gonna be a problem. That guy. Y'all discovered that there seemed to be an invisible creature hanging out in the tavern, aiding Garon's performance by having little dancing versions of the party hang out in front of him. After the performance, you all went to bed, and y'all took a long rest, during which Cedar had a dream of a gray-scaled world of this almost a grove of these various thatch houses. And in the center of which is this large stone altar that, in the top of which, in color, unlike the rest of the world around, was stabbed a silver and green gemstone blade. She continued her dreams. Not about that, but whatever else she dreams about at night. Garon was woken up in the night. Being drawn to the window, he stood up and looked out it, seeing that out in the ocean, off to the east, about somewhere between 15 and 20 miles away, there was a storm brewing over the ocean. The party continued their rest, bringing us to 9 a.m. Thursday, the 20th of April, year 417, post-schism. These dates are going to matter later. They're going to make it easier to do my job. Okay. So, is there anything anyone would like to accomplish over that long rest? Okay, so normal long rest things happened. I've already long rested the party. Reminder to take a luck point if you haven't already. Start of session. I will add one to your sheet, Doug, if you're not already full up. You are already full up. Alright, it is the morning, Thursday the 20th of April. It is lightly cloudy with a bit of wind. What would you all like to do?
Do we have any sort of plans around town? Are we just information gathering? Or are we investigating the overall sense, emotions, what have you?
Do we want to head to that last location that Thicket saw the doppelganger?
Any ideas? I mean, I suppose we could try, but I'm not guessing we'll find much in the way of clues, if any.
Wait, was there some place we hadn't explored? Like the I know we went to the crime scene. We found, was it Leda?
Letta.
Leda.
Ledda.
There was something else, right, that we had to do?
You tell me. I did check out the body, but I don't remember. But that was before last session. That was 2 sessions ago.
Right.
Y'all did tell the messenger from Dervishi Couriers that he could go, and he should go back to Shist and report to Rusty. I believe he was actually the one that... I think he was the one. He may have been the one that told you about the Hearth and Haven meeting, because y'all asked him to ask around about stuff regarding the Shade Tree.
Yeah. Should we go check on the brother-sister duo?
Yeah, that's probably the best idea.
Where is the sister currently?
The last place that y'all were aware of, the sister and brother Ulrich and Linnea both went to Oscar's house.
Wait, why did they go to Oscar's house?
For protection.
Oh.
Also occurs to me, y'all are currently looking at my version of it.
You know, that's interesting that Oscar provides his own personal house for witness protection.
Do you mean is interesting as in it's kind of suspicious way?
I mean, would you personally bring your work home?
I guess it depends on how healthy my boundaries are. My work-life boundaries. Which I was in prison, so I have none.
I mean, a lot of people do bring their work home with them. I don't think it's right, but people do.
Well, you know, maybe Oscar's more of a, if you want something done right, you do it yourself, so he doesn't trust anyone but himself.
Maybe.
Which also might imply he's not a great leader in terms of having adequate staff.
I think either way, it would be beneficial to at least have contact with them and let them know to maybe some way they can contact us in case something were to go amiss. Perhaps we could come and at least get justice for them, if not be quickly enough to save them.
Yeah. Do we know Oscar's abode?
Nope.
Well, it's morning, so he's probably at the station, right?
That's an assumption to make.
So the station's the first place, maybe?
Sure.
Well, if anyone's coming with it.
Say that one more time,
Don't
Connor.
mind of it. I'm happy to come.
I said Doug's going to the station, and he's going to turn around and ask his comrades if anyone's going with him.
Gambit will be like, "Oh yeah, I thought no, I'm not gonna go."
I think it's the right idea. So yeah, I'll come along. Someone should stay with Gambit though, so that we aren't split up too terribly badly.
Gambit, do you want to go flower shopping?
I would love to go flower shopping.
So far we have Gambit and Thicket flower shopping, and Doug and Garand person looking, and is Cedar going with either?
She can go person looking.
Okie doke. Alright.
She's going with Maverick.
Maverick will stay at the inn. Y'all to come get him later. He is going to work on stuff, I'm deciding. And he will catch up if Ethan should. Okay. Who to do first? 3 or 4, it's flowers. Okay, going into the people watching / people finding mission. The 3 of you. You head to the same police office, the same guards barracks you did the other day. Looking in, you find a pretty sparse morning. Probably about 9:30 or so. It seems most people... There are not as few people as you saw the day before. Out. You do see a couple of different people working at desks in the front area. From your previous experiences, there isn't really like a main secretary. It's more of a grab a guard and tell them what you're here for type of situation.
It's not really a situation. We just wanted to check in with everything from last evening. Is Oscar available, please?
Yeah, I can grab Oscar. He should be in the back. See.
Thank you.
The guard you grab this fairly short for an orc, but it is a half-orc man. Gives you a nod, heads back toward the back end of the guard's barracks, stepping through a door. A few moments later, coming out from it. Garand, are you on post to talk?
I am.
Interesting. I just noticed that sometimes the sound disappears after you talk. Like, sometimes it appears after you talk, and other times it disappears after you talk. Odd. I don't know if it's connected to anything on your end, or just sometimes the sound of background continues on. But the guy heads back, and after a couple of minutes of waiting, stepping out from the door, you do see the familiar face of the human man officer. Hey, what can I do for you all?
I'm gonna be quiet. We wanted to check in with the brother and sister. Have they been secured safely?
Yes, they should still be, and he is also speaking fairly quietly. They should still be at my home. everything went smoothly last night. I was careful to make sure we weren't followed. I know you had suspicions about people still on the lookout for them, as I do as well. Wanted to keep them quiet in a place no one would think to look, or at least not typically.
Is there a way that we might see them or get word to them or otherwise communicate with them in some fashion to let them know as we, as you participate in your own investigation, of course, we're going to try to see what we might find out, and in support of you and the guard here, but to try to keep them informed as well.
Understandable. If you give me a letter, I can head back over there in a few minutes as a break. I'll deliver whatever letter if you want to write down somewhere to meet with them or anything like that. That'd probably be the simplest way to get you to them, unless you... I guess I could tell you where I live, but it might be suspicious, or if in case you get followed back to my house. You all seem to be... Well, I mean, someone tried to kill them once already. Or they'll try again. But if you think you can be quiet enough, I can tell you where I live. If you can be quiet enough,
I think it might be to a...
Was that?
Yes, I think it might be to our benefit to try to do all the above. We might be able to happenstance walk by your residence on occasion, as we are perusing about town, and it would perhaps encourage anyone inside who might feel otherwise discouraged, and perhaps anyone who's encouraged outside might be otherwise discouraged.
That seems like pretty good logic to me. As he will pull out a piece of paper and write down some things on it and hand it to you. That's my address. Don't make yourself too obvious. Careful. Something doesn't feel right about all of this.
No, we're very fortunate that you seem to have a right head on your shoulders and a right heart in your chest.
I'd like to think all the Dawn Guard share that, but I've seen my share of bad instances. Well, I've got work to do. I'm personally sending out some individuals to look into some different things quietly, trying to make sure everything is on the up and up and try and get as much information as I can. There's something about your testimony yesterday that reminded me of something I'd like to look into. No concrete details yet, just something I remember.
Cedar came with us. Can you have Cedar roll, since I know it's hard for the player to talk right now, can you have Cedar roll a insight to see if there's anything that maybe she might learn from kind of what he's saying, or...
Go ahead and roll insight, Abby.
How do I do that?
It's on your player sheet. Go to skills, and on the skills tab there is insight, which is 2/3 of the way up. Middle of 10. It's hard to tell. He's whispering, he's talking kind of under his breath. It seems a little like, the generic feel of whispered conversations in the police station, but he doesn't seem to be any, you don't get any feelings that he's lying or anything, but it's an odd situation, so it might just be hard to read him. Or he might just be telling the truth. Or he might be lying and you can't tell. Sorry, I dropped a coin. Or he might be lying and you can't tell. But with a 10, wouldn't give you anything in particular.
Okay, can Doug make a insight check or a would it be investigation and just kind of like getting a feel for the environment?
If it's just like a look around the police station, like what are you looking for?
Like the overall, yeah, I guess just to see if like something catches his attention in terms of like this is strange, or um, I guess if he hears any like chatter, uh, you know, from other conversations.
Okay. A roll and a wisdom-based investigation check, I would say. Rarely called upon thing. Chris, can you just tap your push to talk?
Anything at all?
See, right there, it changed it. So weird. Um, with that, Doug, it seems like everyone is going about their business. You see, it looks like a couple people are eyeing you, but no one seems to be paying you any mind. With that, Oscar will give you a firm handshake, Garand, and he will step back into the police station, out of sight.
Well, that didn't seem to help anything.
I don't fully agree. I think now I feel a little bit more trusting of Oscar, and we can head by that place and see what we see. And who knows, if it is a setup, then we'll know that we need to do something about Oscar as well.
So if it is a setup, how would we proceed?
I mean, let's foil the trap first, and then assuming that he would have no reason to know necessarily that we had even sprung the trap in the first place.
Is this the time for the bag of holding or the portal dimension?
Portable hole.
I don't think it's ever the time for that.
Are you talking about like combining them, like putting them together, create a hole to another dimension, or are you talking just like to use it to hide someone? Because which plan are you talking about?
To use it to hide something, not
to cause a rift between dimensions. Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what the name of it was.
Portable hole, which is currently in the possession of Thicket.
So I was moving around for some of that. So like, are we able to speak to the family or no? Like the brother sister?
Well, the rest of you? Can you?
Yeah, he just recommended that we don't make it obvious to avoid, revealing their location effectively.
So he gave us his estate?
The address.
Okay, so we should probably gather everyone first before heading in that direction.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. While they're doing that, presumably, where are y'all heading back to? Are y'all heading back to the inn to try and just walk about the town to find the others? Where are you heading?
Does Doug see that piece of cloth that he gave to, or that someone gave to Oscar?
Nope.
No.
You saw Oscar take it with him after the interrogation, and you have not seen it again.
Does Doug see like a evidence room or something?
Make an investigation check.
Great. I never.
And I
Be great.
believe you may have done this last time.
Like, I know the area. I just don't know where we are in position of talking to Oscar.
Yeah, y'all would have been in the front main area, and you did notice previously that down one of the halls off to the side, you did see a room where someone was taking stuff, presumably a sort of evidence storage room. You haven't been in to know for sure, but there was an area you'd noted before that you think would probably be the most likely place for an evidence storage room.
And to get to that area, is it like an open hallway, or I can just like casually walk down if needed to? Or do I have to like?
It's an open hallway down to it. You did see the person use a key when they went in, but it is an open hallway to that spot. Yes.
Okay. And did Oscar go down that same hallway when he walked away?
No, he went through a different door.
Never mind. I guess we should just head back.
All right, so you're heading back to the inn for y'all. Flower party. Where are y'all going?
Becca is beelining to that one shop that we saw the night before that was closed.
All right, so you are heading up to the day quarter. As you get up to and around the day quarter, it's a bit of a walk, probably a proper hour to get there from this section, if not a little bit more. You are in the dusk quarter, so on the east side of the city is where y'all had spent the night. So heading up to the north, you would end up in the day quarter, which a part of it, which not a huge amount because it is a full-size city, but the Daystar Citadel is plainly visible from pretty much anywhere in this quarter. Lots of pretty houses, some actually fairly tall 3 or 4 story buildings. But you make your way toward the large open market area you'd seen the night before. While the main area at the middle of this is pretty much left open, with a couple of different benches and fountains, you see the north section of this area does have this large stage almost. From this large stage, there's no one currently on it, but it is a fairly large, pretty much open on every side stage you imagine used for different festivals or such things. There's no one currently up there. Around the perimeter of this area, you do see various stalls that do appear to be open for business, selling a variety of things, seem to be finer goods. We even see a couple of, looks like jewels or jewelry. The two of you would not be particularly well versed in jewelry, at least not enough to tell if it's good quality or not without a detailed look and a check. But you do beeline across and find yourself at the opening of a fairly nice looking shop that has these pretty open windows with this glass detailing on the inside that looks almost like cracks, but as you look at it, does appear to be intentional and details into various gem-like patterns that seem to almost refract the light around the room. You can't see super well inside, but you can see a little bit of what appears to be a fairly open room that is pretty cleanly separated between more flowers and herbs, and on the opposite side being potions, pots. It seems they also sell supplies here for making potions and similar things. You can also see in a locked case on the side, as you step in, as I assume you are, you do see on the left side that there is a locked case that does have potions set in this nice little holder that seems to fit the bottom of these potions perfectly. The sign above the places you went in reads Potion and Petal. Stepping in, you see between the flowers on the potions, on the back side, there is a freestanding counter, openings on either side. And off to the right side of... Actually, no, you would not see any... No, you would see. Off to the right side, sitting on a stool reading a book, you would see a... It's hard to tell the exact age, but a somewhat older, like young middle age, hard to describe exactly how it looked, especially because of what kind of person it is. A fairly, you'd guess, young middle-aged forest gnome. It's a woman with this long reddish hair. As you look, you see she does have green eyes as well. She is sitting off to the side on a stool, reading a book. As you stand in the front, as you step in, she does not look up, and you hear the shatter of a glass in the back of the store from these doors that are off to the left, and she also does not look up as the glass shatters.
Is everything okay back there?
What's that?
Did something break?
That's fine. It happens. The one looks up finally. Oh. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he's probably fine. It's not the first time something's broken. She stands up from her stool and sets her book down. I'm Tepin. What can I do for you all? Or for the two of
Hi.
you. She looks just slightly taller than Thicket, much shorter than Gambit. Sorry, don't worry about Jens, or Bug, whatever you want to call him. I guess normal folk, you would call him Jens Bug, or Mr. Urkavon. No one calls me that! I know, darling. Yes, he's fine. What can I do for you?
Hi. I'm Thicket. It's nice to meet you.
A pleasure. Are you a faunus? You've got quite a bit of fur, so I imagine you are. Something of the sort.
I don't think so.
Interesting. Were your parents faunus, or were they like you?
I don't have parents.
Well, that's more interesting. Huh.
I'm here to buy flowers.
I'll happily help you buy some flowers. What do you might be looking for? He leads you over to the right side of the shop.
I have this book. Thicket holds it up excitedly.
Wonderful.
I have this book. I'm making a collection of flowers from places I've been.
Really?
I wanted to know if you have any kind of like local flowers, something that would be good to add to the book as the flower from Sheer.
That we do. As she leads you over toward the front end of the store, actually standing near the windows, you see several pots, fairly large pots, with these bundles of flowers coming. You see this variety, not variety, it's all the same flower, but these flowers of pretty consistent sizing, coming to maybe softball width across. Not quite the depth, like not quite as, not round, but the width of the circle of the petals comes up just another maybe inch, sprouting from the spot, but it goes outward much more. You see this bright yellow flower. These are Shirian marigolds. We've bred them specifically to get the brightest yellow color we can.
Writing it down.
Shirian is not an actual word. It is specifically a breed of... This is a specific breed of marigold that has
From Sheer.
accentuated yellow coloring. I think one of these would be perfect for your collection.
Ooh, it's very pretty.
I'm glad you think so. My husband actually has... He quite enjoys these. So much so he named our daughter after it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, he's a softie, as much as he tries not to be whenever he's making a deal. You hear another crack of glass. Fine! Fine! Yeah. He's fine. Ah! So, a couple of copper? Probably just not the most expensive flower. We grow quite a few of them. How does 4 copper work for you?
That sounds great.
Careful. She carefully moves over. You said it's for a book, so I'm assuming you don't want it potted. Pulls out a small pair of shears before gently nipping one of the flowers, probably 3 or 4 inches from the flower itself, along the stem. Bring a couple of leaves with it. I think this would fit perfectly. We'll hold out the flower to you.
It takes it very gently, as if it's like insanely fragile.
Is there anything else I can get you while you're here? You deal in herbs, potions, even some spices.
Do you have cool magic things?
Well, we have magical potions, nothing beyond that though. We have some different reagents different spellcasters use. We have some things like powdered silver. We found that was oddly common among druids and similar people that came in here, so we decided to go ahead and get some stock up on those. We also have pretty much just different potions and some different spellcasting materials. But nothing majorly magical. We don't have any magic items besides, well, we have something to help clean up the glass in the back. But I don't think that'd be terribly useful, and it's not really for sale. Are you adventurers, or?
Yep.
Oh, surprised. We don't normally get a lot of adventurers here. The Dawn Guard does a pretty good job of taking care of the city, so there's not a lot of work to be found. What brought you here? Just going around, seeing where you can get some work, or did you come
We're
here?
just kind of in between towns, you know? In between adventures. We came here for a little bit of downtime.
It's a great place to be in between.
Mm-hmm. So we've been hearing some gossip about some a murder that happened.
Really?
Do you know anything about this?
I'm not really the gossiping type. Mostly keep to my books.
I see.
What kind of murder are you talking about?
Like a wife suddenly murdered her husband?
Oh goodness, that sounds terrible.
Does stuff like this happen often?
Not that I'm aware of. We're mostly peaceful. I mean, sometimes things can get a little bit sketchy if you go over to the dust quarter and over toward the ships themselves and the docks. Things can get a little bit rough over there on account of all the sailors. But for the most part, things are pretty calm. At least in the day and dawn quarters. I personally haven't really been part of, privy to any crimes. Pretty much in my entire life, actually. I mean, I got up into a little bit of trouble when I was a teenager, broken glass and all that. But nothing major. Not even major theft. The Dawn Guard do a very good job of keeping peace around the city, and whenever major things do happen, they tend to try and close the cases rather quickly. They don't like things to be a major worry for the town.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they have been doing a good job indeed.
Yeah, there was even a fire the other day that they managed to put out and keep everyone inside safe.
Wow, that is quite impressive.
I heard not even a Dawn Guard, but one of the regular guard wardens actually ran in to try and get a kid that was out at the top floor. Apparently he jumped out and hurt his leg, but one of the Dawn Guard was able to heal that up.
That is very heroic.
I thought it was a pretty good story, but that's all I've heard recently. That was only because it was a couple of blocks from my own house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you happen to know Linnea? I forgot her last name.
Doesn't ring a bell, no.
Linnea is the sister's name, right?
Yep, Linnea Yesfine.
Okay.
Though whether or not she still will go by her now deceased husband's name, is her own decision.
Mm-hmm. How much would it be for a small bouquet?
Small bouquet of any particular type of flower?
Any type. Just that looks nice.
A variety or a single?
A variety.
Okay. What kind of message are you trying to send with the flowers?
Sympathy.
Okay. Nothing romantic then. No reds. She will start
Oh, no.
seemingly
Yeah.
distracted, start going around, looking at a few different flowers, actually picking a bit of what seems to be almost like dried pine, a couple of like dried pine leaves and sticks. She goes and grabs a couple of these different long herbal leaves, grabs a few different, what appear to be largely whites and light blues of different flowers. I'm making this up because I don't actually know flower language. I've thought about it, and in hindsight, at some point, I should probably get the basics down so I can use it for games like this. I'm making it up, but I'm gonna go with whites and blues
Like,
for sympathy.
I only prepared one flower.
I only prepared one. Like I've prepared a couple of flowers in general over the campaign. It's my own fault, I guess, for not researching more into flower language for this. She takes a few minutes and brings together a bouquet of a mix of blues, whites, and greens. That, as she hands it to you, does seem to be fairly simple, but at the same time has a fairly nice and calming smell to it. Different sense of pine. There are a sense of pine and thyme, I'm gonna say. Maybe a little bit of mint smell coming from it as well, in addition to the smells from the flowers. There we go. I think this is just what you're looking for. You will bind the bottom with twine, another T word, W. Another ein really is the problem here. Lots of eins. She will bind it before handing it to you. I think 2 silver will cover that quite well.
All right.
Happy to be of service. Do you need this delivered anywhere, or would you like it?
No, I'll deliver it myself.
All right. Would you like any notes? I've got good calligraphy for this.
No.
All right. It's always worth asking. You never know what people want. And you said you're adventurers. Can I interest you in any health potions or anything?
Is there anything in the shop that's glowing?
Glowing just in general?
Yeah. Or specifically any of the potions?
Let me check. Now I need to look at potion. You see there are some red ones that you would pretty immediately recognize as healing potions that do seem to sparkle in the light. There are a couple of different ones that appear to be vials filled with 3 separately layered liquids with a brown, silver, and gray color. No, she doesn't carry that. That's illegal. There is one with a slight bluish glow with this bluish liquid inside.
Ticket is immediately drawn to that one.
That one, there is a potion with a red liquid that seems to shift in and out as if it's like retracting and then expanding to fill the glass, and then retracting into almost a bead and then expanding again. Yeah, there's the blue liquid. You actually see as you look closer at the blue liquid, there does appear to be something almost bright floating within it. And there is a one with a like almost crystal clear liquid, and one with a cloudy green color.
Okay. Becca just wants to ask if there's anywhere they could make like a shaker bottle, like a snow globe that's just of glowing blue liquid.
Oh, just like, do you want it to sit like a snow globe does, or do you want like
I just want
glowing powder? 'Cause, I mean,
I just
these
want a
might be a
bottle
little
that glows
expensive.
and be able to shake it.
I mean, I guess I could get you this. She points to the blue with the bright little float that, as you see, as she picks up the blue one, the light does seem to almost shift around in the glass. It'd be a pretty expensive thing just to look at. It's a potion of lightning resistance, but this could work. Or if you want to wait a few days, I could see if my husband could whip up something a bit cheaper. If you want something, probably a mix of mundane liquids and maybe some luminescent fungus. That could potentially work to get you kind of what you're looking for. That you can kind of shift it around. It would move and glow. Would you like something like that, or are you looking for the magical variety? It's just to look at. I don't want to make you pay more than you have to.
I would do the cheaper one. I can wait.
Okay, in that case, come back in a couple of days. We'll say maybe Sunday. I'll try. I'll try and make sure he has it ready by then for you to come up. And what'd you say your name was?
Thicket.
You will take a note card and write down what seems to be the details of what you're looking for, as well as your name. All right, Thicket. It'll be in a couple of days. I don't know exactly how much it'll cost because it'll take him a little bit to figure out exactly what needs to go in it to make it work. But I would probably wager a guess for a simple mundane one. Probably 4 or 5 gold, maybe a little more than that if the ingredients are a little more expensive. But if he can use fungus or algae to make it glow, that would probably be a pretty reasonable price.
Okay. Do you guys need a down payment or anything for like the cost of materials?
We should be okay. I mean, you seem pretty honest to me. So,
Okay.
unless you're planning on skipping town, you're not, are you?
No.
Perfect. Plus, I'm sure we could find some rich lady who might like something to sit on a mantle somewhere. As unfortunate as it is, when I once saw that apparently, I guess this would technically count as gossip, which is they do. Not what I want to tell you anyway. There was this lady who ended up purchasing one of our potions. Actually, she bought a potion of dragon's breath, and the potion, she left it. Or, I'm sorry, potion of fire breath. She bought it. It's this glowing yellow liquid typically when it comes out. She specifically bought it because she wanted to use it as a dye for a painting. She bought terribly expensive magical liquid to use in a painting. I tried to persuade her to just use a dye. Didn't have it.
Interesting.
I hope it was worth it.
Do you know where someone might get the ingredients for alchemy fire?
Alchemy fire. Let Micah double check.
Gambit just thought of a clue that he
Alchemist
could try to
fire.
pursue.
Gambit's actually trying to make progress. Thicket just wants a snow globe.
She looks up. Actually, we saw that here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not really magical in any particular way. It's made of a particular mixture of different liquids and different materials that my husband has made a few. They don't sell very often, but we keep some on hand. The Dawn Guard sometimes purchases them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Who was the last person to purchase?
like an individual or the Dawn Guard? Because the Dawn Guard buys them typically every month or so. They get they buy a few of them. I think they use them for. My guess is either demolition, for breaking down old houses and stuff as a simple way to keep it burning, so that there's no issues with that. Occasionally, they do also get it. I think they have it on hand for emergencies for use in combat. Beyond that, I think the last person to buy some. Been a while, a couple months probably. I do remember there was a young elven man who bought some a couple months ago. White hair, pretty striking coat. It was this blood red almost. Real pretty. Him and the coat. Yeah, that was the last time it was bought. Mostly just the Dawn Guard. Keeps them on hand in case adventurers want some or anybody comes in here needing it, but it's mostly just theirs. Once they asked us to, I think they were testing out a different method. They wanted to fill a cauldron with it to see if they could use it as a defensive siege weapon against Grim. I don't know if it worked out, but they haven't, bought it in that quantity since, so I'm guessing it wasn't worth the cost. Yeah, pretty much just them.
All right, thank you. I know that was kind of an odd question.
It was, but yeah, it's part of the business. No, we don't sell poisons. My husband doesn't like them, and I personally find them to be disconcerting. We do have acid, though. There are a couple of blacksmiths that like to buy those. Do you need any of that?
No. We'll be all right.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. We will be back. And once we get back on the road, we'll definitely hit up your store if we need to restock on like potions or something.
Please do. We'd be happy to have your patronage. As you exit, where are y'all heading to next?
Back to the inn?
Sure. Or are there any libraries around?
Libraries.
Like, it's not going to, like, seek one out, but if we pass one.
Library? Not
or, like,
you
bookstores.
Make an investigation check.
Can it be perception?
Nope.
Pretty please.
Can Gambit help?
Gambit can help, or make the investigation check himself.
Take advantage.
Oh my god.
Hello, Echo.
Hi.
No, Echo, you can't persuade me to give advantage.
Advantage.
Or, I'm sorry, make it... Echo cannot persuade me to make it perception.
That was so bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It takes you longer than you expect as you walk your way around through the different shops. Or after spending about 20 minutes walking around, you find that the 3 doors down from Potion and Pedal that you completely walked past is a store called Bookmarked.
How does it look, I guess? Like, does it...
It seems to be a fairly nice bookstore. It's not a library to check out, but it's a fairly high-end bookstore. You see some of the books on display on close to the windows have this almost gold filigree on the sides, very fancy lettering and artwork on the interior.
Okay. Okay, we'll go in.
Stepping in, you would see standing at the standing at the desk near the back, pacing around reading his own book, you do see a fairly older elven gentleman wearing this longer robe with this fancy blue and gold coloration to it, flipping pages through a book, stuttering as he goes. That's interesting.
Hello.
Oh, hello. What can I do for you today? Z pulls out a bookmark and places it into the book and closes it.
This is kind of a weird question because I don't fully know what I'm looking for.
Well, that's one of my specialties, is helping people find what they need.
I want a book, if you have one, about how do I word this? Deities and or magical beings of nature.
I've got quite a few. I mean, history is one of the specialties that I have around here. Are you looking for anything in particular? Any particular things about the deities? I have several different books about each of the gods. Not as much about Aeon, though there are some more apocalyptic stories about Grimm and his monsters. I have some different poetry books regarding them, regarding angels. What did you say besides deities? What else was it?
Magical beings of nature.
Magical beings of nature. So that'd be probably Sylvanus and his servants. Yes, you got a few different ones as he starts looking through some of the different books on one of the walls. Yes, there's one particularly about lycanthropes, both the blessed and the cursed varieties. Yes, we have a few different ones about various monsters, harpies, etc. Even a couple of books about Pegasi, some fictional, some non. Are you looking for very generic, like encyclopedic options, or are you looking for something in particular? Based on what you said, I assume something more encyclopedic if you're just looking for general...
Not fictional.
Non-fiction, encyclopedic. Particularly magical. As he taps his chin, stepping through a few different shelves. Looking around, he grabs a book off of one. No, not that one, as he puts it back and keeps looking for another one, stepping through, continually pulling off a couple and pulling them back off. Will be quite right. How's your reading? Thanks.
I can read.
Alright, something a little simpler then.
Well, if it's got good information, I don't mind if it's hard.
That's the spirit. Wonderful to hear. It's a bit an eccentric naming, but I think this might be up your alley. As he pulls out a fairly thick book and holds it toward you. It has a green leather-bound color to it. Bits of gold on the cursive written front. It says Companions of the Eternal.
Ticket definitely wants to get that one.
Alright. I will say bookstore.
The temple where we found Claude, was that to Aether?
Yes.
Okay.
Temple of
I
Aether.
could also want to find stuff about Aether in the old days.
This is a fairly rare book, so for this one, it'll probably be 20 gold pieces.
All right.
What in particular looking at for Aether? Just looking at an older book about it, or for history, or...
Ticket wants to find clues to get the Keyblades.
Research materials.
So
legends
anything that
regarding...
might be helpful in that regard.
I mean, it's what do you think is going to be helpful? Are you looking for history of Aether, or are you looking... Make an intelligence check to try and think of what things might contain information from 400 years ago about magic life.
Make a what check?
Intelligence. Straight intelligence check. Or I guess history
Love
check,
that.
maybe. I'll make it history, in case that adds any benefit.
It does
Well,
Hey, that was almost a 5. Well, 4. 17.
17 though. So you would figure that what you're probably looking for if you are going for... Looking for things 400 years ago. Looking for things about magic items and where you might find them, information about their whereabouts. Unless it's a more recent history thing and you haven't asked anyone more recently. Like, the only people you've asked more recently have been people that are like, oh, I know this person who has one, rather than historians type stuff. Your best bet's probably myths and legends. So as he ends up helping you look through that, you end up landing on a book called Guardians of Hope. It appears to be a collection of different myths regarding either magical weapons believed to be created by him, heroes that served him, stuff like that.
We'll get kind of excited about the name and pull out the one book that he bought from a different shop and be like, oh, that's cool. It's similar to this one. Or the name. Pulls out Guardians of Glory.
It looks a close look. Ah, yes, I believe that one was inspired by this one. At least a little bit. I believe it might have some references. He looks through. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that one looks to be a little more encyclopedic, whereas this one's a little more mythological. As he looks at the different names, checks one of his records. No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't think they're connected. Different authors, different times. Neat connection, though. I say as Mike, I'm realizing I used one of the words in the books twice, but it's fine because books sometimes use the same words in real life. How many books have the word dragon in the name? Most of them, apparently.
Or wings.
Lots of things.
So many books about wings.
Wings?
Yeah.
Yeah, people like wings. But yes, that separate myths one.
What is Guardians of Hope about again?
Guardians of Hope is a collection of myths regarding agents of Aether. So different monsters, stories, heroes, magic items. Basically, it's a bunch of unconfirmed history, myths, stories, stuff that passed down in a village. All right, this one is a bit cheaper. It will be 3 gold pieces.
Mine is 3.
And is there anything else I can help? Perhaps you, my looks nice human friend?
Oh, yes. Hi.
Hello.
A fellow human? No.
Well, humans don't typically talk like that, and I'm an elf, so... You know,
okay,
I'm not going
not
to
a
ask.
human. I'm sorry.
It's not my business to ask, so...
It's okay. It just caught me off guard.
No worries.
You know, I'm not really a book type. But what book would you suggest to someone who you is like a beginner, like a beginning reader? You know, not like beginner as in like I can't read. Like I want to pick up reading as a hobby and I need a good book to get me into it. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're thinking fiction or nonfiction?
Either.
Well. Stoke a passion. Looks around. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. He takes one of them in his hands. this book is a fictional story about an Azamar and their journeys to find their parents with the aid of a magical celestial creature guiding them. It is called Ancestral Wings. It's fairly simple.
Interesting.
It's pretty popular, but it's not too difficult. I'd say 4 gold pieces.
Sure.
Wonderful.
Does Gambit even have 4 gold pieces?
I don't know, it does. Gambit have 4 gold pieces?
He's broke. Let's see. Where's that at? Inventory. Yeah, he's got it.
Right. You purchase a fairly nice but not too fancy leather-bound book. Brown leather-bound book with ancestral wings written on the front. Seems to be fictional. I say seems to be. He just told you it was fictional. Yes. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else the two of you are accomplishing? Or are you heading back to the inn or somewhere else?
That's all I think it has planned.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The time it would take y'all to get back, all of you would find yourselves at the inn around about 11:30 at this point. Closing on lunch as Gambit and Thicket come back with several books in hand.
Do we meet up with the other party?
Yeah, the two parties meet up
Okay.
in your room at the inn.
I guess we swap stories.
Little potions.
What?
Maverick is excited about potions. Things that do magic. I've
I don't
decided.
think we bought potions.
He's excited about the potion place you went to. Potions.
Oh.
Things that do
I
magic.
got flowers,
Garon,
and I put in an order for a snow globe.
That's a snow globe.
You shake it, and it does pretty things on the inside.
Hmm. What does Garon say?
Garon asks about the bookseller. He jumps on the bookseller. What was this about the legends? What's this now?
Thicket holds out Guardians of Hope. I got this one. It's all about stuff relating to Aether. That'll probably help us find the swords. Maybe. I don't know.
Can I either make an intelligence check or investigation or something to maybe skim through it or something to see if maybe there's anything about certain large birds?
Yeah, I'll make an
Vibe
investigation
check
check.
the table of contents.
Vibe check the table of contents. Well, is he reading Guardians of Hope about legends, or is he reading other book?
The one that I got that was just for me, it's not specifically about Sylvanas, was the Companions of the Eternal.
Garand, in the myths and legends, you do see there are a few legends of ships being lost at sea, of ones where they've been saved by various mystical creatures, from Pegasi to phoenixes to, you do see one as a mention of this gigantic bird, this creature in the storm that seemed to save them, that seemed to stop and actually pick up several of the survivors and carry them through the storm clouds back to shore.
Does Garon say that he's looking for
I don't know,
like,
does Garon say he's looking
a
for storm
bird?
phoenixes?
Well, it would be something along the lines of, what was that about creatures and legends of Aether? Let me see if that balmy bird is found here. And so, flipping through, and so, I mean, as long as Thicket remembers, which I don't know what Thicket's level of memory is. I know that Thicket's got some weird things about him, so he maybe not. Much of Thicket would care to remember about the bird that saved Garon.
What?
How much would Thicket remember about the bird that saved Garon?
What bird? Maureen
Ah.
doesn't remember a bird.
I didn't think it was that long ago, but
It was a while. It was back
Yeah,
in
I-
the night.
Was I there?
well, when we finally
When he came clean about his past.
like,
I remember there was a bird, but I thought it was a big owl.
That would have
That
been...
was Uldrafell.
That was Uldrafell.
Or-
The one that he's talking about is, you would have heard when he was telling his past. Basically telling his backstory to y'all as a token of trust. And that he was saved by this gigantic bird in this storm.
Well, regardless, Thicket is very open and honest about the books that he just bought, and he assumes that information about Aether would be most likely found in Guardians of Hope, but is not opposed to also letting Garon look through Companions of the Eternal, even though he didn't buy it for the party's purposes.
You want to look through Companions of the Eternal?
oh yeah, I mean, Garon looks like he has like a feverish look in his eye, like he's, about to find his birth certificate, effectively, like something along those lines. So yeah, he's looking feverishly through the pages.
Looking through
and-
Companions of the Eternal, you have a little bit more luck.
I mean, I think. Okay. Well, I mean, he's looking through all of it. Like he's, anything that Thicket will give him, and I think Thicket is wise enough at this point to realize that Garon's not trying to be rude by what he's doing. He's clearly like almost possessed by a hunger to know
I
more.
also have a book about Sylvanas and a book about the agents of the gods and fantastical beings.
So, looking through Companions of the Eternal, there is one page that you find that has a crude sketch, kind of similar to the types of sketches in How to Train Your Dragon that Hiccup has in his book, of this large bird, almost hawk-like in design, with like drawings of lightning bolts coming out of its feathers, with plainly written on the top, Storm Phoenix. Not much is known about these creatures. They are known to tend to die inland, usually in battle or just at the passing of their age, where it is said that their eggs that when they die, they become an egg that drifts out to sea, and once they are sufficiently far enough from the land, a storm is created above them, at which point the egg hatches and they regain their full size and power. There is not much more in Companions of the Eternal. Assuming you look through Guardians of Glory as well, though, you do find a similar page, effectively a little bit more giving the same information, but specifically mentioning that the Storm Phoenix is a servant, typically, of Aether. That as through light and the power of actually, no, I'm sorry, it would be a servant of Erebus. As Storm Phoenixes tend to be an omen of disasters. They are known to show up occasionally in storms or just before tsunamis and hurricanes, almost as a warning across the sky, at which point difficulties soon follow after. And it's a debate of whether or not they cause it, whether or not they are malignant, or if they are a part of nature, or if they are doing it out of the goodness of their being in a service to Erebus, that they warn creatures of impending chaos. There's not any specific ones named. You might be able to find some noted in different mythologies and such, but as far as raw information, that's about all you find on them. They're known to be powerful, rare, and are effectively on the level of angels.
All right. He seems to kind of calm down, and he slowly closes the books and gives them back to Thicket with kind of like a little bit of a crestfallen attitude that seems to linger only for the briefest of moments before the smile covers his face again, and the scent of salt spray is more present, as if he's just resigned, or perhaps even enthusiastic about the possibility of something maybe better than he knew. So thank you, Thicket. I appreciate you letting me do that. Now, I think we'll need to swing by the brother and sisters hideaway at least once to try to comfort them. So maybe after lunch or so. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are we staying at the inn for a bit, or are we leaving now? What are we doing? Because if we're staying for a bit, Thicket's gonna go through and look at all the pictures of the books he just bought.
Yeah. So can we review the clues that we have and our lines of what strings we can follow?
What were we headed to originally? Because I know we said that
I don't remember.
Sheer was like a checkpoint, but not the final destination.
What do you mean?
I don't remember where we said we were going to.
You mean in Vacuo?
Yeah.
So Sheer was one of your destinations. Of the places that you noted that you wanted to go, there were 3 in particular. Technically 4 if you count one place you want to avoid now and come back to. Actually 5 if you count 2 places you want to avoid now and come back to later. You wanted to avoid Lahar and Reef because you didn't want to deal with Garand or Gambit's pasts just yet. You wanted to go to Sheer because you've been told that the Lord Selzander of Sheer has one of the swords you're looking for. You've also been told the Dreaming Lord, Tsunada Tatsui of Nace, has one of the other swords you're looking for. And you wanted to go to Vein, Vein, because Vein, has the Lord Librarian Sasha Hellion, who is the Lord Librarian and supposedly knows a bunch about everything and has the largest library outside of maybe the Hain Institute.
All right.
Those were the 3 places that y'all noted down. So y'all were gonna make a
I did
big
not
loop.
remember that about the Lord of Shears, so that was good to
Yep.
to remind us.
Y'all have the belief that the guy that runs this place has one of the things you're looking for.
I think that he's probably not awesome.
I mean, his guard seems to be doing a good job. Seems like a regular group of heroes.
I'm sure that's
especially.
what the military of North Korea is thought about as well.
Yeah, but y'all are going to make a big loop heading up from Schist, going around, hitting Sheer, going to Vacuo, maybe going to Coquinia, and then back down to Nace, and then wherever else from there. So it's up to y'all. It sounded like y'all wanted to take a walk by Oscar's home. He does not have a last
We're
name.
gonna do a drive-by.
We're going to
Yeah.
do a drive-by, glance at... It didn't sound like y'all were planning to go in, is that right?
I think it's more depending on like what we see in the surrounding
Okay,
area,
so
because we've got some
thing,
very
go there.
perceptive people, and I think Gambit and I can investigate.
Yeah.
Go in there and trying not to look suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious, you know?
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Exactly. Given that, I would like... Assuming Doug is going to stay at the hotel or the inn for now because Jack had to step out, and hopefully he'll be back soon. We'll see. I need the 5 of you to all make charisma-based stealth checks to not be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
So do we do charisma or stealth or both?
So it's a yes answer to that. So one of the things you can do in the skills is you see to the right of the name of the skill, there is the stat. So for stealth, it's dex. You click on the word dex and it'll change, and you change that until it's charisma.
So I do charisma on stealth.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though it's typically dex, you are able to, and by you are, I mean I am able to change
check that out.
what skills go into what, what stats go into what skills at any given time.
I think I did that wrong.
No, you did it right. But you have
Okay.
a disadvantage because you are wearing heavy armor.
Okay.
Which kind of makes sense for this, but not really. Okay,
I have
so... Yeah?
a special request. So I bought
okay.
the flowers for Linnea as like a comfort kind of thing. I don't know. Since I rolled a nat 20, can I like sneakily give them to her without like being walk up to the door and knock on it and be like, oh, special delivery for not a wanted lady. You know what I mean?
So, are you changing your appearance at all, or are you going the same look you normally?
Just kind of like casually, oh, here's these flowers. Yeah, not changing my appearance.
Okay. As you walk through, you find yourself it's in the nicer part of town. It's in the southern side of the Dawn Ward, is where Oscar seems to live. Find yourself walking just a bit north of where the guard barracks is, as the city's separate into not quite perfect, but pretty close, like pie slices for each ward. For each quarter, rather. You find his is in the southern side, kind of in between the dusk and day quarters. Walking through the fairly residential area, it's fairly quiet. There are occasionally people. You try to look inconspicuous, looking like you're just going for a walk. And Gambit, you'll see the house. It is a fairly nice 2-story building, standalone, with a wrought iron gate around it, with a few feet of effectively a small yard, probably maybe 8 feet, between the house and the edge of the gate that goes around most of the property, as far as you can tell. It's a bit messy. You see there are actually some different tools off to the side. There's a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and you see part of the ground next to the door is dug up a little bit. It's not the most well kept. You could probably use a paint job, but it is still in it is still in good condition. Good condition house. Looks like it could probably stand to be painted. There's a missing shingle on the roof that you spot with your high perception thicket. The front gate is not locked, but you don't see a lock necessarily on the front door, but doors have locks built into them. So in a bit, you walk in and try to sit and knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
You knock on the door a few times and you wait a few seconds and you hear no response.
Okay. I'll just kind of like leave them by the door.
Okay, you just set them down and walk away.
Mm-hmm. Can I like blind sight though and kind of like see if I can kind of tell like is the house busy? Is it quiet?
You'll be able to tell largely with your own regular perception. Make a perception check, though,
Okay.
as you try to listen very closely.
Perception. Oh. Oof.
And you listen closely for a few seconds, but you don't hear anything.
Okay.
Joining back with the group, you resume your inconspicuous walk for another hour or so, bringing you about probably to roughly around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, having passed by the house, unless there was anything any of you wanted to do at the house. It seems to be fairly quiet.
Is it too late for Garan to also investigate, see if he notices anything out of the ordinary?
What kind of investigation is doing? Just keeping an eye out, or is he like going up to the house, looking around the house? What are you doing?
More like does it look like the rest of the city, or does anything appear to be like, maybe for whatever reason windows are open here that maybe aren't typically, because maybe it's a cool day or something, and maybe it would be a draft, or anything that just seems like out of the ordinary for like what seems to be making sense for the rest of the town, or at least the immediate area.
Make an intelligence investigation check. Spending a hero point, all right. Dean, looking closely, you see that while the house looks largely like all of the others, like most of the houses in the area are built fairly similarly, and there are a few marks of personal touch from ones that are being slightly less kept up, someone who appears to be working on stuff, like how he seems to be digging something in his front yard. You do notice most of the houses do have on the upper floors the windows open. And as you look closely, you barely recognize that hanging on one of the back windows, toward the back of the house, hanging out of one of the windows, just barely fluttering in the breeze. It seems to be hung up inside on the edge of the window, but is occasionally like fluttering out just a little bit. You do see what seems to be a woman's shirt. Almost like it's hung up to dry.
Okay, I'm going to... Okay. I'm going to point that out to Gambit and see if he has if that means anything to him in any way.
Does it mean to anything to me in any way?
Non-thieves can't.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. I think it's just... Is Oscar married? Or is it...
It hasn't come up on. I'm not sure.
It
I'm not
has
sure.
come up.
I suppose he could have a lady friend over.
You know that Oscar has a fiance.
We're sorry.
You know that Oscar has a fiance and that they do not live together.
Oh. Uh-oh. That might be an awkward conversation later. I hope the fiance doesn't see...
Oh right, yeah.
Think that
All right,
he's
so
cheating.
yeah, maybe Doug can help us out. He can use his shadow to get that thing inside.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all
Are
paused
you
in
okay
front
with
of the
us
sound?
just saying he does that?
Sure. Doug did go with you now, suddenly. So Doug is going to try to move up to the house and try and send a copy inside? Or is he going to try and, like, send it up to the room or close the window or what?
I guess it would be if he can see into the window so that he could throw it in there, unless he doesn't have to see to throw it. I don't know, but effectively throw it in on the other side and have the shadow yank it in, and then he could switch with the shadow and explain the situation and about the fiance, so that nobody thinks anything untoward of the guy.
Okay.
Because we wouldn't want Oscar to get in trouble for trying to protect them.
So, the Echo can appear up to a space he can see within 15 feet of him. So he'd have to be within 15 feet of the window and be able to see in the window. Echo inside. So you would have to go onto the property. Would you like Doug to try to stealthily go onto the property and send a
Is Maverick with us?
He was not going to be, but he can be if you need to.
Well, no, it's fine, because too much retconning just like takes away the suspension of disbelief. That's part of the thing about them not being present. So,
This isn't gonna go horribly at all.
And I don't know, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Wait, Thicket. What if you turned into a critter, and you skidded your way in, and you just looked like a house cat or something?
I mean, I can, but also I feel like Oscar is pretty good with communication, and if by chance his fiance does see these flowers, I think he could just explain it very easily in a way that's honest.
Okay. I suppose we could go that route. I guess we'll have to go to Oscar's then and let him know the situation so he's prepared. So, Garan will start heading to Oscar's then, because he's trying to work with Thicket on the whole,
leave
the
flowers with like initials.
I think they were
put
talking
on
less
it.
about the flowers and more about the women's clothing hanging in the window.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah,
I was
there
looking
is-
through my smells.
Near one of the back windows is a woman's shirt is hanging just inside the window.
Does it look like Moneta's?
It's not the one she was wearing, but y'all don't know if they got her more, if she's wearing something else, or if she brought clothes with her. Not Not the shirt she was wearing at the time.
I don't know, guys. I just feel like we're jumping to a lot of conclusions.
So y'all have spent a couple of minutes meandering around this block. I would like another round of stealth checks.
Still charisma.
Still charisma. Trying to look inconspicuous or not trying to be not seen at all?
Everybody?
Everyone who's gone. Yep.
Of course, ironically, after a nat 20, he rolls a 2.
Cedar?
We're doing great, guys.
That's nice.
Okay. Continue.
All right. Well, like I said, Garon was gonna go tell Oscar about it, so he can kind of cover his back.
Alright, so y'all leave the area, walking back to the guards' barracks. Heading in, you, I assume, flag down another guard and have Oscar brought out to you? Oscar does eventually get brought out after a couple of minutes, as we're closing in on about 5 p.m. in game. Yes, what can I do for you? Is everything alright? Did you maintain secrecy?
Yeah, if he's there. Yeah, but unfortunately, the bird's got herself a shirt hanging from the window. She's, I guess, trying to do her laundry, and I don't want it to come back on you as you looking ill towards. Nor would I want someone who knows that you're not ill towards to make a conclusion.
I see. I'll have a talk with the maid tonight, then. Make sure she understands the rules. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I hope everything quiet. Wouldn't want anyone realizing that I had cleaners.
As far as it seemed, everything looked appropriate. Otherwise,
Good.
Does he seem annoyed at us?
He not at you. He gave an exasperated sigh when he was let know that they hung stuff from the window. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You've let him know he would very quickly have to return to his... he seems to be poring over a few different papers. Like when he came out, he saw some in his hand. Y'all doing it? Like, so he would not be able to entertain y'all for very long. So where are you heading next? Or are you doing something else?
When is the shade tree?
The next night, Friday night at 11 p.m.
Okay. I think around like dinner time, Gambit is going to sneak off and do some solo investigating. Just
Okay.
kind of a walk around the different quarters a little bit, and just
What are you trying to learn?
I'm trying to. So what was her husband's occupation again?
He was a guard. He was not
He
part
was
of
a
the Dawn
guard.
Guard, but he was a guard.
Just a
There's-
city guard.
Yep, just a regular guard.
And she is
She had not gotten a job in the city by the point that you are.
okay.
Or
So
have you asked if she was trying to get one?
yeah, I guess the burning question in Gambit's heart is why would someone go after them? Like, why would someone go after Linnea? And assuming that the husband is innocent, why would someone go after him?
Well, just
So
to
let's
remind
see.
you, the reason, like the thing that brought y'all here, one of the two reasons, because you did want to find the sword, but also Linnea's brother Ulrich was being blackmailed with her
Yes.
as the consequence of failure, effectively.
Right. And they were being blackmailed. Do we know?
Effectively to cause issues at Darvishi Couriers.
Okay. But we don't know like a particular group that's targeting.
The House of RP is the name that was on.
The House of RP. Okay. So
Well, the House of the RP specifically.
So that's what Gambit's gonna do.
So who
He's
is
gonna
the RP is a good question.
He's gonna look around and see like if he can figure out like what the House of RP would be by like looking at thieves' cant. Is it like popular places like casinos, or I don't know if they have casinos or something like, you know, like a
They have bars, but no major casino.
mafia kind of gang stuff. I don't know.
So effectively, you're trying to find their criminal
theater.
underworld.
Yes.
Are you trying to find information in the underworld? Like, we can hand wave talking to people if you want and just try to like do some checks. Or you can individually try and be like, I'm looking for this.
No, he's just trying to figure out who the House of RP would be, like how to get in contact with that ring.
Okay. Make a charisma-based persuasion check.
Okay. I'm going
and
to
use. And
use.
if you don't have
hero
proficiency in persuasion, but do have proficiency, yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got like expertise in persuasion.
Oh, perfect. Good for you then. Seems like a good thing to try to find.
Yeah. Okay, and a hero point is +4, D4, right?
Yep, it's a D4.
Okay. Please roll well. Okay, not too bad.
All right, and what are the rest of you doing while Gambit is out and about, talking to the underworld? Also,
if this is dinner, then
yeah.
Hey, well, if it's dinner, then Grant's gonna try to work out another show so he can keep making money. And he's gonna. I didn't say it at the beginning of the session, so that's on me. But I was planning on checking my pockets every 5, 10, 15 minutes kind of deal.
That's a good decision. You do manage to spot someone like moving toward your group that looks a bit sketchy and give him a stern look, keeping him off of you. As y'all do see another attemptee that seems to skirt away before he ever properly makes the attempt to steal from you. You do notice definitely people are still eyeing you up. People seem to have an ear out for Garand.
That's why Gambit wanted to go off by himself.
Yeah. Okay.
Thicket is going to be reading through his new books to see if he can find anything about gods that have a connection with the moon.
Well, there's
Or
a very
the forest.
simple one. There is the god of the moon is Erebus. The forest is Sylvanas. Specifically, if you're looking for more specific creatures than that or what their connections are, I will send that to you.
Cool.
Are you looking for something more specific than that, or just the god of the moon and god of the forest? Because those are pretty cleanly Sylvanas and Erebus.
Thicket's going. His intent is to find anything that matches
A
anything
female
he
moon
heard
spirit.
or saw in his dream.
He's
Yeah.
looking for a female moon spirit, effectively.
Yeah.
All right. Make a in. Hey, you're just kind of reading through it. I will let you know what you would find. Since you're spending time to properly sit down and read the book, you would just get the information. I will let you know what you find.
Cool.
Later on. Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to move around town. Based on what you've heard, you end up starting toward the docks. You decide that might be the more specific place. As you've heard, there is more crime there. You've heard that there, if there's any bad place to be, it's specifically the dusk quarter. A little bit into the night quarter. Yes, the night quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But the dusk quarter and the docks tend to have a little more of the crime side of things going on. As you look and listen, you do see there's more thieves cant that direction, mentioning safe houses, pathways. You see one that mentions a pathway into the sewers, things like that. Talking to a few different people, approaching more sketchy individuals, speaking to them in thieves cant, and effectively double speak to get information across that both lets them know that you're someone they can talk to and you can talk to them. Trading bits of information. Some of them ask about Feldspar. Some of them ask about if you've heard of different people in different places, stuff like that, which you answer enough that there would not be too much of an issue. Some people ask about Reef once you indicate that you know things there. Not a lot, but checking up on inmates, things like that. There's an odd sense of information here, where they kind of just like information in general. But as you go, you effectively find out the following. There is no major crime syndicate or anything in this town, in this city. You found out that there once was, that the previous ruler had effectively allowed a criminal underworld that had effectively had to pay dues to him, but that since Selzander has taken over the last, let me double check the exact time that he's been in power. Scrolling. Where is it? Da. He's been ruling for about 14 years. Where did I write down? Yes, the previous Lord of Ravos. That was what I was looking for. He effectively allowed a syndicate that was called the Claw. A fairly basic name, but it was one that seemed to appease Ravos as a Dragonborn, seemed to be named slightly in reference to him, and he seemed to like that. The respect that he gained as both ruling the upper and underworld of his city. That Selzander effectively dismantled and destroyed. That him and his Dawn Guard, that he... Oddly enough, there were a few members that you find out a bit of information in general. That once he took power, him and his generals, which he has 3 main generals, that one of the generals, you hear the name General Rosanna, her and the Dawn Guard effectively dismantled the crime underworld, not allowing any major groups to form, performing highly efficient sting operations, and seeming to have undercover work being done as well. That, though you haven't heard it from the regular townsfolk, the criminal underworld seems to know. So there's no major group. There are a few fences that have managed to survive here and there, individuals who commit crimes, the occasional thief here and there up for hire. People only last so long before they either decide to move on from getting too much heat on them to another city, or they caught. That there are not a lot of criminals that make it for very long here, and that while there is a fairly generous working off your service, particularly at the Temple of Aether, or in building different buildings, or serving with the city guard specifically at the walls to kind of pay off your crimes. For major crimes like murder, it tends to be a execution result, as crime is not accepted by the city here. While some places might allow an underworld, this one definitely doesn't. In mentioning the House of the RP to a couple of people, you find that most of the time, upon bringing it up to someone, they tend to kind of shut down the conversation and move away. That they don't want to talk about this. You finally managed to find one after a few hours of searching, probably around midnight, 1 a.m., sitting in a fairly low-quality bar that has lots of thuggy-looking people around, very criminal. You do eventually find one slightly looser-lipped person that lets slip that the House of the RP, as far as they know, isn't really a criminal organization in any sense that they hire criminals. Whatever group it is, whatever they're doing, seems to be a very, you touch their business and you die. Like, there's no getting information and surviving about them, that most people that know, it's only talked about in whispers. There's no major details on what they've done, on who they are, that whoever it is, you don't make it if you know. So this guy even mentioning it, he seems to be slightly afraid after he mentions it. But whatever this group is, the House of the RP, whatever their agenda is, it's not necessarily criminal, but it's at least not in the sense of, like, it's not a crime organization, crime family, like, business of criminals. Okay. It's a secret cabal, you might could say, that seem to have some agenda, but most of these guys don't know it.
Like a conspiracy, anonymous hacker kind of
type of group, but
behind the curtain, pulling the strings, kind of.
Potentially, that's kind of the vibe you get.
Okay.
Whatever it is, doesn't seem to be talked about by the Dawn Guard. Doesn't seem to be talked about by the underworld. Maybe it's something in between, maybe it's something else. Hard to tell exactly and get details, but it's something that the underworld fears just as much as, like, the underworld fears and the overworld doesn't know about.
Okay. So, what about, like, in the richer parts of the town? Because it seems like it's not going to be, well, obviously now Gambit knows it's not someone who's poor. It's someone with a lot of power. So like, what are the people who are the top 5, top 10 most powerful people in Sheer, and or is this person even, like, local? Are there strings of manipulation all throughout Vacuo.
There are people that have various ideas of what RP might stand for. From people who say ruling power, the resplendent personified. Some people think he's more of a religious type of figure. Others say that it's one of the generals acting out or is trying to usurp Silzander. Others claim it's Silzander himself. Others still claim that there is a secretive, effectively trying to become a cabal over the entire country. There's not a ton of details. There's a lot of theories in the conspiracy side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Looking through trying to contact underworld or criminals in the lighter parts of town. There aren't many. In the dawn and day quarters, you meet a couple of people, some of whom are criminals that genuinely don't know what you're talking about when you mention.
Mm-hmm.
You do mention it. You do find your way through effectively talking to a supplier of effectively a drug dealer, the upper side of the city.
Mm-hmm.
That similarly, when you mention the House of the RP, similarly, in the same way that the other side does, is it the underworld, the darker side of the city does still is yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I've seen too many things go bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's less information in the light side of town, but it's very similar information.
Okay. And
That's
does it seem like RP is like across Vacuo, or is it just local?
Oddly enough, from what you hear, it sounds local.
Okay.
And from what you saw with the letter, it seems to be something located more in Sheer than it was in Feldspar. Because whoever it was that sent a message was threatening someone here rather than there.
Right. Right.
So, based on your information, you would guess it's a local problem. As for, you'd find out the major two factions. There are different families, there are different rich people, organizations, on the up and up side of things. You hear the names of the 5 most powerful people. You hear are effectively Silzander is revered as extremely strong, having killed the previous lord personally. His 2 main generals, Haladavar, who, from what you've heard, is a man that overlooks the Daystar Citadel itself, and provides effectively both protection and organization for any kind of events that Silzander takes part in. And then you hear the name Rosanna, the general of the Dawn Guard, as people describe her as an extremely powerful red-headed woman who carries a very large, very dangerous axe.
Girl boss.
Very girl boss energy in a lot of ways. Haladavar, he's very, standard paladin-y, from what you've heard. Talks in slightly oldish language, and people think he sounds super studious all the time, but it sounds like he's more faking it. And the last person you hear is the... actually, you hear 2 more people. You hear about a guard. You don't get a name, but a guard that once worked for the city, but now does not. Supposedly is the leader of the Shade Tree. Pushing against Silzander. The Shade Tree is effectively a group that doesn't like Silzander, views him as corrupt, and believes the divine... What's the word I used in my... Scrolling through information, because you asked for lore, so you're getting it.
Yeah, exactly. And can you, send me a list of the names?
I can type this out later. Yeah, I'll type this out later.
I will forget, and I'm too dyslexic to spell all those names.
worries. Where's the word I used? I used a specific word in my writings. Divine obligation is the word that Selxander used to describe effectively a divine right to rule type of thing. That he deserves to. He's often viewed as angelic and works with the church in a lot of ways. You would become aware that he is an Aasimar. And then the third general is both a general and his why am I missing the word? Ambassador to the rest of Sheer, who is currently not in the city, whose name is... Sorry, I'm scrolling through different things right now. It's not all in one place, but it probably should be. Liang Xiaolan, who is apparently a wizard, or at least a magic man, appears to also function as like the court wizard. Selxander. You also hear stories from one of the older criminals that has been here a while, keeping on the low side so he doesn't get caught. That apparently Haladivar was a more recent addition in the last 5-10 years, whereas Rosanna and Liang were part of the group with Selxander that took down Revos. Yeah, and that's about all the information you get. There's not a ton about House of the RP, but
yes,
Underworld fears him. Elderworld doesn't know about it.
Yes, I'm satisfied with what I have found. And I'm going to return home, and it's probably like well into the night. And he didn't really tell anyone he was leaving, so yikes.
For the rest of you, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing over the night before you long rest? Assuming you long rest.
I'm still trying to mac and roll that money, my guy.
All right, make a performance check.
Books.
Reading books, making performance checks. Abby.
Is it Gambit that usually gives me my my advantage, or was it someone else?
I don't remember if anyone gave you advantage. I think you've just.
I thought there was maybe it was Thicket with some kind of magic thing. Maybe you were giving me something. I don't know. I feel like there was some bonuses.
No. It was like somebody casted something like
illusion
dancing
spells?
lights or something. Like minor.
So those illusion spells, those were not one of your group last night.
Yeah, that was the.
You believe that was
the little worm. Yeah.
I believe it was Izu, who does not seem to be acting.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right. Okay. He's not happy? Or it's not happening?
He's not interacting, at least. You don't know if he's not happy or if he just decided to go somewhere else. Who knows? You can't see him. He doesn't tend to check in with y'all. Like, y'all haven't actually heard his voice in-game?
Since we met him.
Oh no, one of my strings broke.
A month and a half? Not a great night for you.
One of my strings broke.
It will buy some, like, bread or something and, like, leave it out for Izu. Just, like, have, like, a note for a drawing or something of the little dragon.
Adorable. Okay, Garon, it's not great. Not your best night. You end up getting only 3 silver pieces and 3 copper pieces from it. Not a great night. Not bad, but it's pretty light, especially for it's a Thursday night. It's not a fancy weekend or anything, but still, it's not quite as good as you're used to. Fewer people come in. The crowd doesn't get into it. Doesn't seem to work out the same. The energy's not there tonight.
And you know what it is? It's Gambit. Gambit's absence has
Gambit's absence. It's just you find yourself wondering.
And I broke a string. I broke a string.
I hope you didn't break a string on your fancy
I need to use
violin.
repair or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get Maverick to use mending.
No, I can use. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I use mending.
You and Maverick mend the string over the night. All right. Abby,
You said
is there
4
any...
silver, 3 copper, or 3 silver, 4
3 of
copper?
each.
Sorry.
3 of each. 3 silver, 3 copper.
I have a question.
I have an answer. See if they match.
I don't have a bassoon, do I? I'm just proficient in bassoon.
You have a flute
You have a
or
flute.
something?
You are proficient in wind instruments.
Ah.
I don't know why we wrote specifically bassoon. It might have been bassoon, but we decided you could also play... There's something else you have that we were looking at. I believe it was...
Like I could play all woodwind instruments.
You know how to play the pipes, that's for sure. You have a set of pipes of haunting, which I think you can play as regular pipes without invoking the scary magic. Let's check. Yeah, you can play the pipes without invoking the scary magic if you want.
Okay, let's try that. Why
Okay.
not?
Are you trying to play with him?
No, I see that he doesn't do very well, so I go up there and try.
All right. Roll your wind instruments charisma check.
So it's charisma.
Yep.
Oh wait, it's wind. Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's the wind instruments down at the bottom. Because I can also add special skills. Oddly enough, once Garan, like the string breaks, he has to step off to the side. Cedar comes up and starts to play, and oddly enough, like the sound seems to wake up the crowd a little bit, and she does quite well throughout the night. Cedar, you get 4 gold, 1 silver, and 4 copper. As she seems to take some of the energy that you were lacking and seems to pour a bit more into it, at one point even pouring shots of milk around the room as she plays.
That sounds about right.
Sounds like a Cedar thing to do.
It does. I'm gonna give Garage the money that I made.
3 of you.
How much are you going to give Garand?
As soon as Cedar
I'm giving
tries.
him all of it.
Yeah, unless
Aw.
as soon as Cedar tries, unless Cedar's trying to be sneaky about it, which Garan could very well miss. No, you earned that. You performed brilliantly. I hope you'll play again. It was absolutely lovely. You don't have to worry about that. You know, some nights are just bad. You know, some nights you get booed off stage. So,
I
know,
disagree.
at least that didn't happen. So.
I disagree. I think you're great every time you play, and I think this is what you deserve, even if these people can't realize that.
Garand is trying to fight back a little bit of Misty Eyes. To not insult Cedar, he will accept the money. But it will go back immediately back to the party, so it's going to be like the immediate part of the money that will be paid for like the next place that we go or stay or whatever.
All right. I believe your stuff is mostly... I believe it's another... I think I decided on... I believe it was 2 gold is what y'all land. No, it was 5 gold is what y'all landed on for the whole party, meals and rest. So go ahead and mark another 5 gold off, Grant, for this night. This night and the coming day.
You said I got 4 from Cedar, and what else was there?
4 gold, 1 silver, 4 copper. Then I need Garan to make 2 animal handling checks. 1 for the previous night and 1 for this night to see if he can get some more Jackie points. Okay, so that's immediate 2 Jackie points. Very nice. And another 1. You now have 3 points. Or anything in particular you'd like to try to teach her?
So I had what was it, guard before,
Guard was before. Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so with 3, can I do I don't know, like a fetch, or like a sniff or a track or something?
Yeah, so I'll say for if you expend all 3 points, 1 for one night, 2 for the other, probably 1 for fetch. Fetch is not hard. But track is a bit more difficult, so I'll say that would take 2. I'd say overnight you could probably teach her both things. You rolled well, you got an at 20.
Awesome.
You got
Who's
good
the goodest
points.
girl? Who's the goodest girl? She getting that ear scratch, man. She's getting it right now.
She is loving it. You actually find she's a little bit dirty. You hadn't noticed, but she seemed to have disappeared a little bit earlier. Ran off into the streets before coming back.
Probably had to go get some food. She's probably hungry. I don't know. I'll look into getting her a bath. I feel like it needs to be like one of those like Turner and Hooch moments or something where like we get the bath together.
Oh, adorable. I mean, this is fantasy. And this is not medieval world. This is fantasy world. So sure, if you wanted a bath, you could get a bath at the end. But that doesn't have to be.
How much more for that?
We'll say 2 silver. This is fantasy, which means people can be clean and no one ever has to go to the bathroom. Okay. That over the night. Another day, or another night passes. Bang, boop. Rest. Another long rest. I don't think y'all expended much of anything, but you got another long rest. The next day, around, it'd probably be 9 a.m. again. Actually, probably 10, or to give time for Gambit to get back and rest, given how late he would have been out. The next morning, you find yourself waking up. There's no disturbances in the night. Garand, when you wake up, you feel slightly anxious, but it goes away after a little bit. But something feels odd for a few minutes before it goes away. Almost like you're sort of a hair standing on end feeling. Can't quite put your finger on.
I'll ask around if anybody else felt that or had the same kind of.
The rest of you do not. The rest of you sleep pretty well.
I must see if there's anything I can cast.
Oh no.
Well, like I said, it goes away after a few minutes. But for a few minutes, you had an odd sort of feeling. Is there anything...
I'll ritually cast Detect Magic just because I can.
Nope, nothing that's not normally there. Effect on Garand abnormally. He's not cursed or anything.
Well, I've done all I can do.
Alright. Is there anything y'all are going to do in particular, or are you going to mull about until the meeting?
Did Thicket learn anything from his books?
When I said later, I
Will
mean
that
like
be something after?
That'll
like,
be a
after the
after
business?
session. I will send you a
Cool.
paragraph or 2.
Oh,
Because I need
sweet,
to.
lore.
Part of it is I need to think through exactly what you learn and what you would find, and then I need to put it into good descriptive work. I will send that to you, and maybe go ahead and post. I'll maybe post it directly into just like session highlights or something, just so others can see, which is part of what I'll be doing with Gambit as well. I don't have as much of your information on hand, so I'll need to think. So what are y'all doing on Friday, the 21st of April? You're 417 post-schism. I wonder if the year is going to...
flower shop lady say to wait?
She said to wait until Sunday. because he effectively has to develop a new recipe for it.
Okay. And then trinkets.
Yeah, you and your trinkets, you're going to have a whole collection of stuff. It will be an absolute shame if you ever get hit by like a disintegrate spell that destroys everything non-magical on you.
Well, I do have the portable hole
This is true. That is magic, so it could hold the
for
stuff
my
in it.
trinkets. Another box for my trinkets. What's going on? It's Trinketville.
Thicket's Trinkets. That sounds like a shop name. Maybe after all of this is over, Thicket will open a shop called Thicket's Trinkets, and he'll just live there and be happy for the rest of his life and sell off the things from his adventures.
Bold of you to assume he would sell any of it.
Okay, fine. Thicket's Trinkets is a museum that he will happily show people for the rest of his life. Right? Is
Like
there
that
any...
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's the
Owl.
Animal Crossing Museum.
Yes.
Of course, that'll also end up being a question of assuming your characters survive, where they choose to spend the rest of their days.
Gambit's gonna tell Garand everything.
Gambit tells the group about what he learned the previous night about the House of the RP. That seems to be criminals fear them. Overworld doesn't know about them. Big no-no topic. It's a don't
Fish.
screw.
Women want him. Fish fear him.
Yes, I'm looking at my Bass Pro Shops hat right now.
I love swapping that one around. Fish want him, women fear him. It's like a what? Yeah. Chris, are you back from what you needed to do?
Dookie.
Okay, cool. I just know you had to do.
Oh yeah,
something.
no, I'm still
Okay.
here. Yeah, I was just waiting for, like, I didn't want to interrupt what people were doing. Yeah, no, when Gambit starts pouring it out, like, it's funny because, like, I have the perfect response meme or GIF. Hold on.
The GIF that
Numbers.
Jaislyn sent was the one of the guy with the papers and everything behind him and the red things everywhere, and Garand is the woman with all the numbers flashing in front of her. What? Which the others would hear, but I don't know if Cedar or Thicket would have any particular mind to this.
What?
You would also hear about the House of the RP stuff and the criminal underworld. That there is
Thicket
pretty
knows
sparse.
all
So
about social stuff and espionage.
Yeah.
He's very well
After this fantastic
versed
moment of
underground of human society.
after what feels like this fantastic moment of, like, conspiracy theory stuff, Gron will submit his first possible idea, and we can go down rabbit holes as necessary. Right, so it sounds like the criminals would be more afraid of them taking power, because then they would lose what they've readily enjoyed for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a positive. My thought process then is they are trying to mount a resistance where they believe they could take on
Who is they?
this man and his weapon. The House of the RP wants to take on the current Lord of the City, is what Gron's saying. Is like the idea of, like, with that, like, if criminals are fearing them,
Yeah.
then I think it means that the criminals believe that they could actually enact and make it more of a lawful state, effectively. And why they might not be being talked about by those in charge would be because you don't want to give any credence or it's like free advertising. Why would you say that this group exists if you can just deny them, act like they're nothing? then maybe nobody will take them seriously. It's one of those things where it's like. So the way Gron's looking at it is like, this is even more exciting than I would have hoped for. I think that maybe the House of the RP was trying to garner. They were trying to do wrong in order to do right, maybe. Again, because we're going with this whole like conspiracy theory stuff. So
Yeah. Well,
of course it could be. And then the second idea, they just want the sword too, and so they're willing to be more dastardly about how they're trying to get it. And so they're worse than what the current regime is.
It is worth noting.
And so we would need to find a third alternative.
I just would like to note a clarification for earlier when you're asking if they were like all over Vacuo. It seems that they are based in Sheer, but they definitely are taking some kind of like they are doing something outside of just Vacuo because they did have stuff going on in Feldspar. They're not isolated to here, but they are based here.
Right. Yeah, I get you.
I don't know if that changes anything, but it felt like something I need to make. Clarify.
Yeah.
And Gron's either like, hey, they're the best friends, we got them, let's do this all together, or no, those are the worst enemies, let's take them out first, and then we can surprise Cake the King.
Yeah. So what do we do now?
We need to be at that meeting tonight, no matter what. Now, there's no alternative. I think we need to make sure that our more vocal members are prepared to perhaps withdraw their more outspoken opinions, at least in the temporary process of trying to ascertain this group's real goals. I would be remiss if we were to let perhaps a certain inventor slip something odd into the conversation, or a very powerful fighter.
Yeah. Are you saying that this is just a
we must tread carefully.
Or
I would like some sort of backup, so perhaps they could be waiting in the wings, even as a winged creature.
All right.
I can't fly. I could be a turkey. Wait, can turkeys fly?
Not long enough to be considered. I would not consider them a flying creature for the purposes of this effect. No. They'd have like maybe a 10-foot flying speed with a maximum height of like 30 feet. So no, not for this. No, I'll allow it. I've decided. This is gonna come back to bite me.
The winged creature, I can be a turkey. Or a dodo bird.
Basically, as long as they can't really fly.
Oh, you gotta be a chicken, because then if anybody comes at you with a sword, you're gonna summon all the other chickens.
Yeah.
It's true. Chickens have summoning
I got
powers.
that reference.
But only real chickens have summoning powers. Just like in all my games, cats always have actual true sight, but only real cats have true sight. Familiars and transformed cats don't have true sight. Real cats have true sight.
Wait, so does Cricket and not...
Nope.
What am I talking about?
Cricket does not count as a true sight, as a real cat for the purposes of this. He is. There's a little bit of stuff behind that, but technically, no, he does not qualify.
Is Cricket
Partially for balance. Invalid cat, yes.
Evangelical cat? No.
Evangelical cat?
That's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm trying to say.
You're gonna
Are you sure he's
fossilize all
not
the other cats?
Catholic? Are you sure he's not?
I know that one. The type of cat from the Broadway play, Cats.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
a bunch of kinds of cats and cats.
Oh, like the
Angelical?
evangelical cat.
Angelical?
Yeah, Jellicle.
Angelical. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
I don't think it's Angelical.
It's just
Jellicle.
Jellicle.
Okay.
It's a Jello cat.
Yeah.
He is a Jello
Jellicle
cat
cat.
now. But no. Okay, continue.
Sorry.
Continue to strategize your plan for the meeting you're going to.
We know the time, we know the place. I think we go into it with the idea that you are my effective
Sunshine.
bodyguard, or
Yeah.
like you find the things that I can't find on my own, and I'm the money in the face sort of thing. And so it'll already had been going around that I had been targeted, right? So they'll already have some suspicion that people have already been trying to take advantage of me, but we've been able to thwart them. So that will play into this character persona, and there should be something where you speak early on so that it's known that like we're more like partnership than like I'm your employer, because I wouldn't want that. I want you to be able to speak freely, and I wouldn't want confusion to set in just because they thought that you were speaking out of line or something. So maybe early on you can say something about maybe I will, if they bring it up, then you respond to them by talking about how you had been the reason why we had recovered. And if not, I'll bring up that the reason why I can not worry so much about whether or not people know that I might have something to be taken. I have someone that I can trust more than that. So either way, we can bring it in so that you're more of a partner, so that they don't dismiss you. I wouldn't want them to do that.
Yeah.
And I will need to know whatever it is you know.
I was able to sow some seeds, I think, probably yesterday. Like, people are gonna know, kind of. Like, I'm a hardened criminal. So, because I was able to, like, there was a trade of information. So, I got information from them, but I also gave information. So, they're gonna know, know that I know, probably.
All right, that's good then. Okay, yeah. So
it shouldn't have to come to that, but that's a good point if it does.
Yeah, we need Thicket close to be able to quickly sprint and warn them that the fight has started in earnest, and I'll do all that I can to keep you standing until our allies arrive. Should it come to that, but if it looks like they won't make it in time, we'll need to depart. So be ready to run. I'm not worried about you, but I want to. I think we're entering a dangerous situation.
Oh, of course.
I don't want to dismiss it.
Totally.
So, if I understand correctly, the group is planning to go, like, wait out through the day, not do anything in particular, and then once the time comes, y'all are going to go to the place, and Garand and Gambit are going to go in, with Cedar going in disguise, maybe as a turkey, maybe as something else.
Thicket, not Cedar.
Did I say Cedar again?
Why am I?
Yes, he did. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I keep doing this. I don't know why.
Thicket. Cedar can't transform.
Okay.
Turns out that milk.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that milk is way more powerful than we understood.
Are the other three waiting outside, or are they coming in but acting not affiliated with you? Kind of my question. Because I didn't exactly understand what the other three are doing.
Oh, that's fantastic, in fact. That is a brilliant idea. If
You're
only one of
welcome,
us thought of
says
it.
God. I think maybe we should go in, but like not
no,
be
that's
affiliated with
that's-
you. Yeah, Maverick says.
That is something that Maverick would
No,
say.
that's
though,
genius.
Well, I could say it. I'm Claude, after all.
No,
Maybe you
that-
should all go and be like disguised as, or like separate. Maybe. I don't know why. I'm getting progressively more Australian every time we talk as Maverick. Not Maverick. Heck, Claude.
Claude.
Yep. Names, man. Names are hard.
God can't remember the names of everyone.
I'm doing my best.
No, so yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, alright, so I'll walk in Gambit and we'll have Jackie and then the others can come and go either before or shortly after us.
Am I
and
being a rooster or no?
staggered?
I thought you were being a turkey.
I don't think you have to be now.
What about
I
like
think
a
a rooster would be more fun.
rat?
Because if I need to do like a warning signal,
Okay.
they can be loud.
Cock-a-doodle doo.
Like, yeah. Like Fantasy Peter and
Exactly.
Fantasy Jesus.
What?
What?
Like,
What?
What is
Are
going
one
on?
of you planning to? Are one
Like-
of you planning to deny another one of you 3 times? Like, what's going on
yeah,
here?
like I totally have no idea who this little kobold child is.
Hey. Okay, so y'all are going. Okay, so
And then
y'all
that's when
are
Thicket will croak.
with Maverick
I'm a
is
bit,
denied 3
uh,
times.
conspicuous by nature, just being a cat. People don't really see cat people all that much.
It's true.
So I think I should be a rooster anyway. And I'm definitely not saying this because I want to be a rooster.
Press X to doubt.
Okay,
I want you to be a rooster.
so this sounds like the plan. One last time, are y'all doing anything over the day, or are y'all just waiting before heading to the Hearth and Haven?
This is in the morning, correct?
Yep, it's 10 a.m.
So we have like all
Would
day.
you allow the party to have input on what stuff they want me to prepare?
Huh? Oh,
So would you
spells?
allow the party for me to like ask everyone, so what should I prepare today?
Yeah, so what do y'all want the spellcasters to prepare? Specifically, Thicket. Cedar's is mostly... I mean, I don't know that Cedar's going to change any of hers. And what kind of spells do you want Maverick to prepare?
What the 3rd level one that I picked out was Accelerate, which lets me choose 3 people to have their speed doubled for a minute, and everyone can use their bonus actions as a dash.
That seems like a good one.
It would have been something that
And you have advantage
would
on
have been
dex
good to
saves.
have when I was a horse.
It also gives you advantage on dex saves.
Yes, that's it. But ones that I don't have prepared that looked like they might be good was Dispel Magic, Find Traps, what does this one do? Okay. I have Entangled prepared and Hold Person.
Essentials.
And Bark Skin, I always have that one prepared. And Dark Vision.
Cedar is the only one who cannot see in the dark.
Yeah. I have Earthbind as well in case something is flying that we need to not fly. And Locate Object.
A lot of
That's good.
movement denial spells on your list. Good to know.
What?
Lots of movement denial spells on your list. Good to know. Fly, stop. Standing, stop. Walking,
Yeah.
stop. None of this.
What's something that can prevent teleportation?
Dimensional shackles, but y'all don't have any of those.
What's something most teleportations require you to be able to see where you're teleporting, right?
Most.
Okay, well that doesn't really help because it just makes you invisible to them.
Duran does have blindness, I believe. Blindness, deafness.
Not that it helps.
I
QQ.
don't have
Yeah,
speak with plants prepared.
Is
Do you
there
guys want
one
that?
that like affects constitution? Because deafness, blindness is a constitution saving throw, right?
It is.
So is there something that like affects, like makes a disadvantage
I
for that?
I don't think I have much that gives other people disadvantage.
Yeah. I think Bane.
If we have
gives
Bane, if Cedar has Bane,
minus
we can do
1d4.
minus a D4. That's something. And that's
Cool.
multiple. It'll hit like 3, I think, minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Would you be interested in preparing the spell Bane, Cedar?
Wait, what?
They're talking about spells and if they want to change out any spells for the upcoming meeting. And they're asking whether or not you'd like to change any of your spells, potentially for the spell Bane, which is a first level spell, where up to 3 targets of your choice that you can see within range, which is 30 feet, must make a charisma saving throw. Whenever a target that fails the saving throw makes an attack roll or saving throw before the spell ends, the target must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the attack roll or saving throw. A minus
I
d4.
could
Anti-bless.
I could
So I would
prepare Fog Cloud.
I would have to replace that with one of my other spells right now, right?
Yes, you would have to unprepare one of your other spells.
Okay, let me take a look. Because that does sound great.
I would say Earthbind, but I know that like as soon as you take
Earthbind
away
prepared.
Earthbind, oh yeah, never mind.
As for ones that Cedar does have currently, she has Command, Cure Wounds, Guiding Bolt, Inflict Wounds, Foxfire, Hold Person, Spiritual Weapon, Tongues, and Water Walk.
Hey, it kicked me out again.
That's sad.
This is really annoying.
Tongues and Waterwalk, aren't they what you call
utility.
rituals?
That's a good question.
I'm trying to think about what I
No.
just like never use.
Wait, Water Walk is a ritual, but as a cleric, Cedar does still have to have it prepared in order to ritual stuff.
I don't have it prepared.
Oh, yeah. As a nature cleric, QQ.
Water Walk, you do have prepared right now.
I do?
Yeah. Your 2
Since
third level
when?
spells. Since you got 3rd level spells, you were like, I want Tongues and Water Walk, and I was like, alright. Because the ability to walk on water was apparently important to you.
Well, my favorite person did it once.
That's true. He did.
Sorry, I'm a visual person, so I won't be able to make this decision until I can see the list.
Okay. Are there any spells y'all want Mavericked? Or unprepared?
Wait, I have Heat Metal. What?
Yeah, you can learn Heat Metal. Druids, bards, and artificers can all learn Heat Metal. Cedar cannot.
Do you guys want Heat Metal?
Do you think you're going to fight enemies with metal armor?
We're gonna
And
be in a room of
or metal
people.
weapons?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Probably not.
You guys want Fog Cloud or Fairy Fire?
Fairy fire sounds cool.
Yeah, fairy fire
It's
is
not as
really
cool as it sounds.
It's very effective.
It gives
for, like-
people advantage when
Yeah.
you attack someone who's in the
Who's affected by the cloud?
area of light.
Mhm.
They do have to
created
fail
by
a dex
fairy fire.
save.
Yeah.
Where can I see the possible spells for the Artificer?
They're on Maverick's sheet if you want to open Maverick's sheet. Or I can tell them to you.
Do you guys want charm person?
Anything
I
that
feel
does
like-
like any kind of debilitation, because
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No. I was about to say the same thing.
Maverick's current spells
Yeah, so like
are Absorb Elements, Cure Wounds, Detect Magic, Grease, Identify. He also has Magic Missile and Thunderwave, but those are always done. He also has Mirror Image and Shatter, both of which are always prepared. The ones he does not have prepared, but could have prepared, include Alarm, Disguise Self, Expeditious Retreat, Fairy Fire, False Life, Featherfall, Jump, Long Strider, Purify Food and Drink, Sanctuary, Aid, Air Bubble, Alter Self, Arcane Lock, Bat Sense, Blur, Continual Flame, Darkness, Enhance Ability, Enlarge Reduce, Ear Barrage, Heat Metal, Invisibility, Lesser Restoration, Levitate, Magic Mouth, Magic Weapon, Protection from Poison, See Invisibility, Skywrite, Spider Climb, Web.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
That is.
Welcome
I
to the
feel
world
like-
of a prepared caster.
I feel like we could do away with like the Identify spell for a day.
Okay. What do you want to pick up
and
instead?
replace it with something
Yeah.
else. Expeditious Retreat was one that stood out to me, but there are also like so many. If we have to like
I
run,
like web. Just
yeah, that one's good.
well, here's the thing, because web can stop if we're winning and we can like interrogate, but it also can stop while we're trying to get away. So effectively, in my mind, web is twice
Yeah.
as effective as
Ex-
expeditious retreat.
Yeah, I can see that.
Plus, I really want him to like throw a bunch of sticky glue bombs or something.
Mm-hmm.
I also note he does have one extra spell he can prepare, at least at the moment, because he has a total of 6 spells he can prepare, and he currently only has 5 that are not his always prepared. Oh, there's one more freebie if you want to give me a type of spell, like something to aid you, something to debilitate enemies, something to deal damage. I can find ones that are specifically that kind of.
I have
Yeah.
I still think
Banner
debilitation.
of Stars.
What?
This looks very interesting. Essentially, I can like use it as a weapon and like hit people and potentially teleport them away.
Which one?
Banner of Stars. Teleport them up to 15 feet away. Or I could plant it in the ground and essentially have it be like a 30-foot radius circle that we could just like teleport freely around inside.
Mhm. That might be nice. Can you like control where they go, or is it like random?
If
I can
it
control where
hits
they
you.
go, and I can also choose up to 6 creatures to be allowed to teleport within the area of effect. It does
That might be
cost
nice.
movement, but it's like blipping from one place to the next. So I mean, it could be like very a bit niche, but also very useful if like
Mm-hmm.
someone was like restrained or something. Just
So
like teleport away.
I feel like if we're gonna meet Teleport Lady again, it's gonna be at this meeting. And so I feel like that would be pretty effective if we could she teleports, and then we can also teleport to her and then stop her again.
I will prepare it.
Plus, it just sounds cool.
Does sound cool. For Maverick, I'm going to prepare Fairy Fire on him because it aids y'all and kind of debilitates enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Because it also means they cannot become invisible.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other changes y'all want to make?
Yes.
Yes, what would you like to change out, Cedar?
Well, shoot, now everything looks different.
I can put it back to where it was. Sorry.
I don't know what's happening. I can't even, like, scroll correctly anymore. I don't know what's going on.
No, you're fine. I thought you were done with your sheet, so I changed something. Continue. I changed the mode. My bad.
Oh, I wanted to exchange, Bane for inflict wounds.
Alrighty. Oop. Now it is exchanged. Alright. That is all the party is doing over the rest of this afternoon. Night begins to fall. The storm on the outside begins to get slightly closer, a bit at a time. Weather. Lightly cloudy, still windy. As the time approaches 11 o'clock. Yeah. You want to go for a couple more minutes or stop as y'all approach this?
This seems
I'm
like
down
a
for
good
whatever.
stopping point.
Yeah.
I agree. So
I
as
do have to get up at 6:30 tomorrow.
you gather your things, resting and working out a plan at the inn, verifying that you're all going to go in separately, except for Garand and Gambit. I'll have to double check. Don't believe you were given any kind of password, any kind of entrance, just that you know that it is at the Hearth and Haven. You see this fairly simple looking bakery. A painting of a loaf of bread atop the front. Do y'all get there on time? Do y'all get there a little bit early? A little bit late?
On time, I vote, but other people should get there a little late.
Alright, so it's some of you getting there about on time, going in over a couple of minutes. You do spot a couple of people that go in, seemingly going toward the back and entering in there as Gambit and Garand follow. Yeah, we'll stop there as you approach the building, begin to enter. That's where we are going to stop. So, next session, which hopefully we'll be able to try and maybe do the World of Warcraft Session 0 next week. If not, then we will definitely be doing another episode of Remnant Lunar Archon. I believe that's where we'll end for the night as you make your way toward the meeting with the Shade Tree. Which the people you see entering this place seem to be relatively, like they look like normal people as far as any of you can tell. Right. These preparations made, with the plan set, where we'll end the session for tonight. If I already said that. This was fun. It is a bit late, so I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube side. Thank you so much for coming, YouTube side. Thanks for anyone watching on Twitch or on YouTube. It's been wonderful to have you. I hope you all have a lovely evening, a wonderful week. God bless you. Bye, YouTube.